Hi everyone, my name is Sándor Bakos, and I would like to talk about how you can secure your web application hosted in AWS with the Cloudflare offering. This solution is universally applicable, not just for EC2 instances that I'm going to demonstrate, but also if you have an application running behind a load balancer, or if you expose your application behind API gateway or any other way, this solution can be used as well. So I'm going to go step by step on the process. I'm going to show that I have a web application already running. After that, we are going to configure Cloudflare WAF and DDoS protection. Especially, we are going to focus on the admin endpoint that I'm going to allow traffic only from my IP address. And also, I'm going to expose just two endpoints to the public from my web application. And also making sure that the client cannot bypass the Cloudflare and connecting directly to the web application. Okay, let's get started. I have navigated to the EC2 console. You can see I have this web application hosted on an EC2 instance. And if I navigate to the public DNS, you can see I have this Strapi instance running, and I can open the administration panel. I have logged in, and I have already created some collection types like picture, images as a single type, and I have in a media library already a couple of assets. I have some entries within the picture collection, which is great. And Strapi is a content management system, and what I can do is query this content. So if I navigate to API/pictures, I have all the different entries returned, and I can specify the populate media flag. And you can see I have these image entities URL as well, and I can query these entries. You can see this is my very nice AWS picture. So this is my web application. One more thing, it has a security group, which allowing traffic from anywhere from the internet on port 80 and 443. That's nice. So this is restricted. In later, it's not going to be okay. We need to restrict it more. Only allow access through the Cloudflare IPs once we configure Cloudflare. I have this publiccloudtraining.com domain you have seen before. Go to DNS settings and create an entry. I have already created the entry. Basically, this is a CNAME. I'm going to have a subdomain on Strapi, and the domain is going to be strapi.publiccloudtraining.com. And I have a target, which is the hostname, public hostname of the EC2 instance. And of course, we need to have this proxied. So let's save this. One thing that you need to configure before you go forward, configure the SSL TLS encryption mode. Configure the full encryption, which means that encrypts end-to-end traffic, but it requires a trusted CA or a Cloudflare Origin CA certificate on the server. What I done is went to the Origin server tab, and I have created two certificates. And this has two hosts configured, the Apex domain publiccloudtraining.com and the wildcard.publiccloudtraining.com. It's perfectly fine for this demonstration, but in reality, I like to have the certificates matching with the subdomain as well. So if I need to create this again, I would do something like strapi.publiccloudtraining.com. And I have downloaded the certificates, and I'm navigating to the EC2 instance. You can see I have this origin.crt, the origin.pam, this is the private key, and I copied these to the right location within Nginx. I created a folder. I can show you my Nginx config. Scrolling to the top, you can see the 443 route, and you can see the SSL certificate. I have pasted these certificates to the right location, so I'm not going to bother showing this at the moment. Going back to the Cloudflare. So first up, let's navigate to this. This is what I expected. I can navigate to the admin page. I have logged in, and I have the same content as before, of course. So the traffic is proxied through. So this is really nice. So we managed to set up the connection from Cloudflare to my Strapi application running on EC2. Next step, what I'm going to do is restrict the traffic. So I don't want to reach this instance anymore from the IP address and from the hostname of the EC2. So I don't want to reach this. So how you can do it? So what you need to do is whitelist the IP addresses of Cloudflare. So for that one, there is a good feature of the VPC service called Managed Prefix List. Go to the Managed Prefix List, create a new prefix list. I have named this Cloudflare, and I copied all the different publicly available IP address, IP CIDR range, and you just need to save this prefix list. Now, in order to whitelist this or use this prefix list, go to EC2, select the security group of the EC2 instance, edit the inbound rule. I'm going to delete this entry and I'm going to add the prefix list. So add the new rule, select HTTPS, and I'm going to select the IP prefix list I have created. This is the Cloudflare IP prefix list. Save the rules. Now navigate back again to the public hostname of this instance. You can see I logged into the admin panel. If I reload the page, this is going to be timing out. So this is what I expected. Really nice. So I can close this, and again, if I try to query the image, you can see this is timing out, blocked by the request is blocked by the security group. But if I'm working still on the Strapi admin, I have the response back. So this is fine. So we have configured Cloudflare to proxy the traffic from my web application, and also we have restricted the direct access to the Strapi application. So only Cloudflare can query this. Next step, I'm going to restrict the admin route. Go to Cloudflare, go to security, and go to WEF. I'm going to create a rule, allow admin, and we need to specify an expression. And my expression is that if the host name is equals strapi.publiccloudtraining.com and the path URI path contains the /admin and IP source address is equals, what is my IP here? 84.1.222.29.222.29. I'm going to skip all remaining custom rules, what we are going to create. So let's deploy this. Nice. So this is not going to do anything. So this is at the moment. I need to create a blocking rule for this hostname, and let's say strapi.publiccloudtraining.com, and we are going to block everything which is coming to this Strapi instance. So let's call this block all. Deploy. Nice. So we have two rules, and we can test this. So if you go into your Strapi instance, public domain, and if I refresh this, you can see I have been blocked. This is what I expected, but if I'm going to the admin page, I can go through. And if I'm going to the admin page from a different IP address, so that's why I'm going to connect to a VPN. I've connected to the VPN. I'm going to wait a minute. Okay, let's try it. And you can see I have been blocked. This is something I expected because now my IP address is coming from the Netherlands. This is a different IP. So I'm going to disconnect again from the VPN. Disconnect. I'm going to try again a minute later. Okay, and I have this admin path working again. Nice. But as you can see, the API path is not operational. And what do I have? Pictures. And I want to have these pictures return in order to have my application consumed by others. So let's fix this to expose these API pictures and the uploads folder to the public. Nice. So I'm going to create a new rule, and I'm going to have this expose public routes. So let's start with the hostname again, and at the end statement, if the URI path contains /API/pictures, so or the URI path is containing the /uploads. Let's not block this. Skip the remaining custom rules and deploy. and move this rule in front of the block all. So really nice. Let's go back and let's try to query these uploads. You can see I have these uploads returning. I need to find the correct picture. So let's query the API/pictures. And I need to have that populate media. And I need to have this uploads cloud bill. Okay, and I have this image returned. This is something that I expected. One thing I would like to show you is the different tools. So you have this IP access rules as well. So you can whitelist the IP address here as well. So in the IP access rule, I can also specify my IP address. So this is also a valid configuration. I'm going to delete this, yes. Also in the user agent blocking mode, you can specify different user agent. So for example, if you know that you are getting a lot of requests from a specific agent, let's say a Python scraper, I can enable a bot, and the way you can do is just create a new block, have a name, have a action. You need to specify the user agent. Let's test this. I have a crawler and I have the response received. So this is something I expected. These kind of crawlers can be detected from the logs, and also you can enable this blocking action. If I try to run my crawler again, you can see this is the error from Cloudflare. It never worked. So nice. It has a limitation though. It cannot accept a wildcard. So this is a kind of bummer. So let's disable this one, and let's go back to the WAF and let's create a new role. I'm going to call this block Python, and I'm going to select the field, and I'm going to say if the user agent contains Python, let's block these requests. Let's move this to the top. Yes. And let's crawl it again. You can see this is again an error. We have blocked the Python crawler. Let's go to the bots. Also, you have this bot fight mode. You can enable it. It's going to add the challenge requests that match patterns of non-bots before they access your site. Nice. And last step, let's go to the DDoS protection. And you can see that HTTP DDoS attack protection is always enabled. And what you can do is deploy a DDoS override. And you have multiple options for this DDoS override. But I'm not going to touch this. So let's sum it up because it was a longer lesson. So I have created a web application on EC2. You can see I have the Strapi instance running and Nginx running. This is not part of the lecture. And I have created a domain for my web application, and I have proxied through this web application. I have enabled WAF, different roles of WAF. I show you that DDoS is always enabled. You can override this rule, but don't need it. And I also showed you how you can hide your admin page behind an IP address. Also showed you how you can use different tools like IP whitelisting, or different tools like for bot protection and blocking different user agent. By the way, this can be also implemented in the WAF rules. So that was the lesson. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you find it valuable, and see you in the next lecture.